Hi, I'm Fernando Fernandez for FERNTV, and we're here with Susan Claassen, and she's part of a theater production play called A Conversation with Edith Head, and it's finally here in Toronto, up here in Canada, and we wanted to ask you how first, what inspired you to put this production together?
Well, I'm an actor and director and run a theater company, so I put a lot of shows together for other people. And I was watching Biography Channel, and there was a biography of Edith Head, and I looked, I went, gosh, I look like her.
Right.
No one had ever said that to me before. And I watched the story, and I realized beyond just the glamour, there was a really in-depth story of a woman surviving in a man's world, creating really her whole persona,
Right.
and holding on to it for 60 years.
Right.
And even though some people said she had a rough exterior, inside was vulnerable, I thought this would be a fabulous theater piece. So I checked to see if a theatrical had ever been done. It hadn't. She had left her estate to the Motion Picture and Television Fund.
Right.
I got right of likeness, right of publicity, approached the Academy, because you can't talk about Edith Head without mentioning Oscar or having Oscars. Since she has 8, this is a record that will go unbroken, most of any woman in Hollywood. And they've been wonderful. They've loaned us 2 prop Oscars, which are great, which you'll see on the set, which are terrific. And then I found a woman named Patty Calistro who wrote a book, Edith Head's Hollywood. We had 13 hours of taped interviews, and we found that the story was really a history of Hollywood. It was also a history of what it took to make it in the industry.
Right.
So it was really fascinating, and every day I learned something new, which is such a great way to live.
Right. And you've chosen the theater format in order to do this. And how do you find that a little bit more better to learn more about Edith Head herself?
Yeah, well, doing a theater piece, it's very in the moment. We set the play in 1981 when she was working on her last film, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, directed by Carl Reiner, Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve Martin.
She died 2 weeks after the wrap. And we also set it wherever we are, so we'll be in Toronto. And it's really a conversation. It's an intimate exchange. There are questions that people ask every night, so the show changes a little bit. So it's very active. Usually there's somebody who personally knew Edith, because she really understood branding before there was a term branding.
Right.
You know, you knew Edith Head, you think costume designer. You know, she was on TV, on Art Linkletter. She was doing makeovers long before they coined the term.
Right.
So we like to say before Project Runway, there was Edith Head.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is a one-woman show, and tell us how challenging that actually is.
Yeah, well, I like to think of it as a collaborative effort. I have a wonderful host, Stuart Moulton, who gathers questions and acts as her host because the questions have to be time appropriate. Can only answer things up till 1981. So I can't talk about Edna Mode or the Google Doodle that came out this year on Edith. And the audience is a very active part of it. My other collaborator, James Blair, did the set with me. So when you walk into the theater, you really feel as if you're coming into the golden age of Hollywood.
Excellent.
You know, you'll see real photos of Edith. You'll hear music from shows, films that she designed. So everything from The Sting to All About Eve, of the great film scores. So you just go back for that moment. And you remember, maybe if you didn't see the original film, you remember Turner Classics and saw a film.
Right.
Or you saw an interview here with Edith, or you remember a great movie palace you went to. So it's really such a joy and privilege to keep her legacy alive.
You say that you keep on learning every time you do this show, but is there something that you've learned about Edith Head that really sticks out in your mind?
I think that really she had such great tenacity, and not to say a pun, but she really was ahead of her time. She understood what true style is, that it comes from the inside out. You don't follow fads. She really embraced a quote that Mae West said, when you find a magic that does something for you, honey, stick with it, never change it.
Right.
And that's why Edith sort of always looked the same.
Right.
That's why sometimes people don't know if she's alive or dead.
Yes.
You know, they'll say, oh, look, there's Edith Head. And doesn't she look good? I would say, yeah, I would hope so for 116. So.
Now, if she were alive today, who do you think she would like to work with, or some of the people she would have loved to dress?
Would love to dress. I think she loved real actors, you know, so she would love a Meryl Streep. She would have loved to dress her in the transformative. She understood that a costume designer, you never want the clothes to wear the actor. You want the actor to wear the clothes. So she really understood that, and she worked brilliantly with all types of directors. Those that cared about detail, like a William Wyler, those that didn't care a dang about any detail, like Cecil B. DeMille could care about authenticity. So I think she just loved to work. She really felt that she could make an impact and do that, and she knew her actors had to feel good in their clothes, and that would affect how their performance was.
Now tell us how important it is now for you to be up here in Toronto and to have this show, a conversation with Edith Head.
Thrilled to be making our debut in Toronto under the auspices of CatCat, because they're really all about design.
Right.
So it's absolutely wonderful that they are sponsoring. They do such a great job on really being an advocacy group for costume designers. So I think that's thrilling. So we are so happy, and we're happy to be at Buddies. What a great theater and great people at Buddies in bad times.
Right.
So it's great to be there.
And so if Edith Head saw this play, what do you think she would say?
Well, I think she was one that wanted her legacy to live on. So I think she would be happy. Those people who were closest, who still know her, you know, who are still alive and with us, feel very strongly. And it was very interesting. Her attorney came once, and after the production, and he said to Stuart, he said, you know, everyone should have an opportunity to spend another afternoon or evening with somebody they loved and lost. So to me, that's the greatest compliment in the world.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'm almost 100% sure that this play is going to do so well here in Toronto. And
You're adorable.
And please talk to us again when you come back up here, whether it's this play or not.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So appreciate it. I think you're terrific.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Do you want to take a shot picture of it?